Hey everyone, it's George again. How's life treating you? Yes, today we'll be talking about idioms, how and why it's important for your students to learn them. English is rich in its idiomatic vocabulary. It makes the language more vivid and lively. It's idioms that help us gain higher levels of fluency and allow us to distinguish between newbies and native speakers. Let's get right into it. What are the do's and don'ts of teaching idioms? First and foremost, you shouldn't teach idioms all lesson long.
Don't do that.
Idioms rarely have a literal meaning, and cramming is definitely not the best way to learn. Try to make idioms an integral part of your lessons. Adding just 1 or 2 new idioms to every class with regular repetition will make students remember them much better. And remember, always include idioms in their appropriate context. And where can you find examples of such contexts? If you have ever planned a lesson, there you have it. You've already found the answer, but we will go through some examples just to cram them all together and have a ready-to-go list for your next class. First off, books. Classic and contemporary literature is full of idioms and collocations. Secondly, the internet.
An internet?
Okay, maybe that's a bit too evident and unspecific. Online media is a great resource for fulfilling your idiomatic needs. It doesn't matter if you prefer scouring the web for memes or discuss late Proust with your students. There are sources that will work for you and your students, no matter the interests. Try to visit Vice, Outline, Quartz, BuzzFeed, and Huffington Post. Thirdly, movies. Hollywood blockbusters are worth watching not only because they're a great way to listen to certain accents and dialects.
They drank every night, and I mean drank, like famished water buffaloes.
But the films also include great examples of how idioms are used in various states or countries. I personally think that it's fascinating how differently native speakers use idioms in their speech. You may not have a lot of time on your hands, so watching a full film may be a bit too excessive. Try to take a closer look at Oscar shorts. These are lovely films no longer than 20 minutes and are suitable for the classroom.
Oh, so that's what it's all about, kind of revelation, but it's more often than not, I guarantee you, something like, no, I have so many regrets.
Frankly, even some Vines and YouTube videos can teach you idioms, and even some video games are not an exception.
I thought that could be one where I get him. You are right.
What's most important is that you need to get a result out of your lessons, right? This is how you do it. You should start off with idioms that look and sound a lot like Russian ones if you're teaching Russian speakers, of course. This will help your students to understand the mechanisms of idiomatic language. For example, лучше синица в руках, чем журавль в небе in English would sound like this.
A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush.
You can also take something with an obvious translation and what your students call rich companies cash cows instead of dojная корова.
Now that is a cash cow right there.
With the help of such idioms, your students will start to understand how the English language works. With time, your students will get the hang of the logic and a good feel of the language itself. Hopefully, your students will soon approach the ultimate goal: thinking in English. You shouldn't leave out idioms of the latest generation either. Consider one night stand as a nice idiom and a slightly controversial topic for discussion. You can also assign homework associated with idioms and ask your students to find a few idioms that they like themselves. By doing that, in your next class you already have a topic for discussion.
This may be a good time for a brief discussion.
Don't forget to tell your students about your own favorite phrases. After all, you are the English speaker that they are looking up to. But there is one trick to rule them all. It doesn't matter how old your students are, they all love games with idioms. Create your own alias cards to learn new idioms and revise the old ones. You can also play charades to get your students speaking and laughing, and triggering strong emotions while learning allows for better memory to take place. Try to create a comfortable atmosphere to boost the creativity and learning capacity of your students. Another tip that some psychologists recommend for you is to create strong associations. The stronger such bonds are, the better your students will memorize the new material. For example, you can play association games or ask your students to write stories using the learned idioms to build upon what has already been studied. Or give your students a set of cards with idioms, shuffle them around, and assign your students to write a story with at least one idiom in each sentence. You can also turn all your lessons into a game by adding various achievements that will motivate your students.
Keep that game face on.
Gamification is a very useful tool for educators, and you should definitely consider adding it to your classes. I mean, you don't have to use heart-shaped stickers or paper medals. Just make education a friendly contest and an inspiring challenge. The most important thing to keep in mind is that students shouldn't be feeling stressed or nervous about learning the new material. It will take some time to find a balance, but it's definitely worth it. Now, go break a leg. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe to our channel. It's a very small thing, but it means a lot to our team. And if you wish to be on our team, here is a link below that you can click right now. Good luck to you and your students, and see you next time.